feel compelled to start with at least a little small apology that at least I wrote it all out, so know that it could have been a lot longer. Every time that I go on a mission trip, it encloses my proximity to the far reaches of the world around me, just physically, spiritually, emotionally. I see, am exposed to, and share so many things on these service projects, which in turn allow me to view and engage the world with a greater sense of intimacy, a sense of passion even, and purpose. From these things that I experience on these trips, I derive inspiration. However, I tend to believe that the inspirational and life-changing aren't mostly inherent in the things we see and hear. What makes them so inspiring is how we choose to look at and listen to them. For example, tipping my hat to a few of the things I saw during the Katrina mission trip. Just seeing someone walk up to the door I was standing under in the pouring rain, holding an umbrella over herself and another person, inspired me to snatch up an umbrella and do the same darn thing for others in the buckets of rain that was between where the team was and the building they had to get to for dinner. The rain itself, it inspired plain happiness and the reckless abandon of worries as I sprinted in circles like a fool around our flooding campus center. The birthdays and anniversaries celebrated by the Camp Hope staff and our own mission team inspired me to look around and take joy in the relationships that I have. For those of you who don't know all the implications of Bourbon Street in New Orleans, I'll spare you its worldly images. But so too did this inspire me to consider the imperfections of our world, to at the very least seek awareness, because from there change is possible. And one element that I consider personally unique in regards to this mission, especially to this particular team I served with, was our proximity to cancer. I've given you a lot of vague and lofty images of my trip and things I've seen, but for me it's this story that's most important for me to share. It was the morning after my worksite teammate and friend, Don Rothschild, took a flight home, leaving the camp early. The first 2 days of the Katrina trip were the first times that he and I had ever really spoken to each other, and I really looked forward to getting to know him, remembering one year that he'd been on ASP. And I was even more ready to do so when I found out he was on my individual work crew. The morning after he left, as we'd gotten about an hour into our project, our construction supervisor, a kind old man named Marley, who, if I remember right, is a two-time conqueror of cancer, being recently out of his last chemo treatments at 69. He got the call that a relative, an 8-year-old named Jason, had just passed away to cancer. We stopped and circled in prayer. Maybe an hour later, my phone started ringing. I answered and passed the phone to Mert. She then told us that Don's mother, Sandy Rathje, had just passed away to cancer. We circled up and we prayed. Now, prayer has never been a dominant factor in my life, and that's probably giving me more credit than I should. But because of that week and my growing closeness, my personal proximity to cancer in my life, my prayer has been given or inspired a greater purpose. I thought of and think of Sandy, of Jason, of my grandpa, of one of my best friend's parents, and some special friends themselves. I think of these people, and I think that cancer, and any person who is in any way close to its ever-expanding reach, I think that they deserve more prayer than I have ever given it, or them in the past. So, proximity. It stands as a great theme for this speech, our mission's meaning to me, and my whole life. Being my first time on the Katrina restoration project, it brought to my eyes, in person, the painful realities that still exist within our nation, in a pretty similar way that the last 4 years on Appalachian Service Project has. With this trip came a new personal proximity to destruction, to pain and loss and heartbreak, and futures that bear a great burden of uncertainty due to the ravaging of landscape, economy, and home by Hurricane Katrina. However, within each of these eye-opening, painful experiences is a dichotomy. One that means that my proximity to families, to friends, to the people I serve and serve with, And finally, my proximity to God is made more and more intimate, because I believe that what walks hand in hand with all these heartbreaking circumstances and painful realities is the opportunity to get closer to something or someone beautiful as well. We just have to take that opportunity. This ministry has changed my life, and more than anything, it's the people who have made the difference. I thank God for the new closeness, my proximity that I was given to them. That closeness doesn't change to those who I've left in Mississippi, and I can look forward to continuing to grow and expand my existing relationships within this church family. It is through all of them that I've been inspired this week. All of them and each of them. They inspire me to seek out the environment and people who will push me to be a better person, as was done that week. Proximity, inspiration, choice, change. Again, I thank God for bringing me within the intimate proximity of the staff at Camp Hope, the members of my work site, and every individual of this ORUMC mission team. And now I thank you, all of you who brought me to this moment today, a place outside and in, that I would not be without you, and the time I spent with you on that week in Van Cleve, Mississippi. And although my questions still far outweigh the answers, and although it's become more obvious the vast distance I've got left to cover, I'm certain that I grew at least a step or two closer to God that week. Thank you.